9 days after legendary actor Gene Hackman, his wife Betsy Arakawa, and one of their dogs were found dead in their 9,000 square foot Santa Fe home,
an emergency call from a caretaker led to the unexpected discovery of Gene Hackman and Betsy's situation. Unfortunately, they were found dead the moment the FBI arrived, but the most shocking part is what the FBI discovered about Gene Hackman's death, because it will surely leave you stunned. Join us as we uncover the heartbreaking mystery behind the couple's death. A call that changed everything. The story behind their death began with a routine inspection, the very moment when a caretaker tasked with overseeing the property arrived at the Hackman residence. However, what should have been a straightforward visit turned into a far more disturbing experience. As he neared the house, something seemed wrong. The front door was wide open, and there were no signs of life, only a chilling silence. What he witnessed next prompted him to reach for his phone to make an emergency call that initiated an investigation filled with inconsistencies and unresolved questions. He initially reported finding one person inside the house, but quickly corrected himself, stating he discovered two, with one already dead. It was a peculiar mistake. Was he uncertain about what he observed? Did he first think one of them was still alive, or was it something else? During the call, he stressed repeatedly that he hadn't entered the house, stating it was locked. This contradicted reports of the front door being wide open. If he never went inside, how could he have known there were two bodies in different rooms? He claimed to have seen Betsy from a window on the floor, unresponsive, but Gene was located in the mudroom, a completely different area. How was the caretaker aware of his presence? Did someone enter before him, or was he concealing information? The operator requested more details, like if they were still breathing or conscious. The caretaker was unsure, sidestepping specifics, insisting that he just needed someone to arrive quickly. He seemed shaken, yet scattered, as if he were having difficulty articulating the situation. At one moment, he mentioned they seemed to be awake or alert, before quickly contradicting himself by asserting they were not. Was he in a state of panic, or was there something deeper prompting his uncertainty? Then there was the timeline. Authorities would eventually conclude that Gene and Betsy had likely been dead for up to 2 weeks before being found. Their bodies had already begun to mummify, a chilling detail that sparked even more questions. How had no one noticed? No family, no close friends, no one checking in. With an estimated $80 million in assets, their home remained undisturbed, their fate unknown, until that one phone call. The particulars of their deaths painted a troubling picture. Gene, who was once a strong figure, was discovered collapsed in the mudroom, as if he had fallen and couldn't rise. Betsy was in the bathroom, surrounded by pills, with a portable phone nearby. Was it meaningful or merely coincidental? And then, the most bewildering detail, one of their 3 dogs was found dead in a kennel, locked away in a closet in the same bathroom as Betsy. What were the odds of both the dog and its owner dying in the same room? Or was it confined for another reason? With carbon monoxide poisoning ruled out, investigators faced a mystery. If it wasn't an accident, then what truly occurred? The caretaker's remarks pointed to the contradictions and disturbing state of the bodies, indicating that the situation was more complex than it appeared. Was Gene experiencing a medical crisis, collapsing where he was and unable to seek assistance? Did Betsy, consumed by sorrow, take her own life with pills in a daze? Or was there something else that occurred in that house, something no one wants to discuss? As the fragments of this bizarre case gradually align, one fact is clear. The mystery surrounding Gene Hackman and his wife's last days remains unresolved. And of course, there must be speculations and theories to justify the death, because nobody can interpret what exactly happened. When the news initially emerged, one theory dominated the discussions: carbon monoxide poisoning. It seemed to be the most straightforward and rational explanation. A silent assassin, odorless and unseen, taking the lives of an elderly couple and their dog within the confines of their home. This had previously occurred to countless other families, entire households lost to unnoticed leaks, their deaths eerily tranquil, devoid of struggle and distress. At first look, the Hackman case seemed to align perfectly with that scenario. Gene was discovered collapsed in the mudroom, Betsy dead in the bathroom, their dog locked in a closet, also deceased. No indications of a break-in, no obvious signs of violence. Everything appeared to align for a tragic accident, possibly due to a malfunctioning heater, a gas leak, or some hidden problem that had saturated the home with poison. As time passed, they may have fallen asleep, unaware they were inhaling their own end. However, investigators soon arrived, and the fire department carried out an extensive search of the house with specialized tools to uncover any minute traces of carbon monoxide. They examined the vents, heating systems, appliances, every potential source of danger. There were no findings, leaks, gas accumulation, or even rationale. The gas company conducted its own investigation, leaving no stone unturned. Again, no malfunctioning devices, blocked vents, or defective heaters. Whatever caused the deaths of Gene and Betsy was not carbon monoxide. With that possibility eliminated, the case took an even stranger twist. If it wasn't poisoning, then what could it be? Could it be a sudden health crisis, a concurrent tragedy occurring simultaneously, or something more calculated? The discovery of pills next to Betsy in the bathroom prompted further inquiries. Had she used them on purpose, or was it a mishap? If Gene had suffered a fatal fall, why hadn't he sought help? Why had no one heard anything? Then came the dog, its death seemingly unrelated to carbon monoxide poisoning. If it had merely fainted from fumes, why was it confined to a closet? Had someone put it there? And if so, what was the motive? With the carbon monoxide theory debunked, the quest for answers intensified. Investigators were not merely confronting an unexpected death, but unraveling a mystery, one where nothing added up, and every solution sparked more questions. Gene Hackman, a man who had dominated the screen, found himself in the midst of a real-life narrative, and the truth of what transpired in that house remained undiscovered. Various theories about events within the Hackman residence continue to circulate, each proposing a plausible explanation, yet none offered a conclusive answer. Lacking clear evidence of foul play, both investigators and the public were left to reconstruct the final moments of Gene and Betsy Hackman. Was this a tragic mishap, a string of unfortunate circumstances, or was there more concealed in this tale, something lurking beneath the surface? One potential scenario posits a medical emergency followed by a means to personally take their life. At 94 years old, Gene Hackman, despite retreating from the limelight, had a well-documented history of health struggles. Could he have experienced a fatal fall, a stroke, or a heart attack, collapsing in the mudroom without anyone nearby to assist? If Betsy discovered him in such a vulnerable state, helpless and unresponsive, could she have made a tragic choice in a moment of profound sorrow? The scattered pills in the bathroom imply intentionality, but if that were true, why was she found in a different room? Wouldn't she have wanted to be close to him? Wouldn't she have called for help first? The particulars don't completely align, creating gaps in the theory that are hard to ignore. However, there exists a theory that transforms a heated argument into tragedy as a dispute goes further, perhaps over a minor issue or something more significant. In a fit of rage, one individual pushes the other, leading to an irreversible accident. Did Gene fall and strike his head, Did Betsy panic upon realizing the situation? If she felt responsible, could she have descended into despair, turning to pills to escape the overwhelming guilt? If true, does this clarify why the dog was confined to the closet, perhaps to shield it from the turmoil? Did it consume the pills, becoming yet another unfortunate casualty in an already tragic scenario? However, there's a far grimmer possibility: neglect or foul play. The timeline itself raises doubts. How could a couple of their means and prominence remain unnoticed for nearly 2 weeks? Where were their staff, friends, and family? An estate valued at approximately $80 million was someone lurking in the shadows, anticipating their demise. And if so, could it be that the person might have influenced what happened to them? Reports indicated the bodies were discovered in separate rooms, yet the caretaker who contacted the emergency line appeared to know both were deceased without entering. Could someone have altered the scene before the authorities arrived? Were details being concealed? Lastly, there's the theory of accidental overdose and unattended death. Betsy may have ingested too many pills, whether intentionally or not, resulting in her losing consciousness. If Gene located her but could not assist due to his deteriorating health, a medical crisis, or sheer confusion, might he have attempted to call for help but fainted before reaching the door? If so, why is there no record of an emergency call from either party? Why did no one in their circle check in when they went silent for several days? Each theory offers a fragment of the puzzle, but none entirely complete it. And with evidence so scattered, the truth regarding Gene and Betsy Hackman's last days might remain unknown. What transpired within that home? Was it merely a tragedy resulting from old age and circumstance? Or was there something deeper, something yet to be revealed? Amid the shocking nature of Gene and Betsy Hackman's demise, one detail remains particularly striking: the notable silence from those nearest to them following their deaths. Only one of Hackman's 3 children has publicly acknowledged the tragedy. The others have made no statements, displayed no visible grief publicly, and offered no urgent calls for answers. This raises a challenging question. Was there a rift between Gene and his family? Had time and circumstances fostered an emotional divide long before his physical exit? For a man of his prominence, one would expect a close-knit support system, a network of family and caretakers looking after his well-being. However, the reality seems to tell a different story. If Gene and Betsy went nearly 2 weeks without anyone recognizing that something was amiss, what does that imply about their connection with family and friends? Was this a situation of estrangement, or merely a result of an elderly couple withdrawing from social life, spending their final years in seclusion? Additionally, there are considerations regarding the maintenance of their house. A property valued in the millions would generally receive regular upkeep, landscaping, security, and checks. Yet, no one raised the alarm for days. Why was that? How frequently did maintenance workers visit? Once a week or once a month? If they had been regularly inspecting the house, wouldn't someone have detected something unusual, like an odor, inactivity, or a front door left slightly open? Yet for almost 2 weeks, the house was untouched, and no one seemed to notice. This raises the question of who else had access to their home. Did they employ a housekeeper, a nurse, or a personal assistant? If so, why didn't they check in? And if not, was it a conscious choice? Did Gene and Betsy intentionally restrict their circle, limiting outside interactions, or was there another reason for the lack of inquiries? Then there's the issue of the money. A staggering $80 million in assets, a fortune that could change ownership instantly. Could this have contributed to their isolation? Had they become distrustful of those around them, uncertain of whom to believe, or worse, was someone waiting for them to pass, knowing that time was in their favor? The family's silence only intensifies the mystery. Were they avoiding speculation in an attempt to grieve privately? Or is there something more complex lurking beneath the surface, such as a strained relationship, a history of separation, or merely an elderly couple used to solitude? As time goes by, more details might emerge, but at present, the absence of answers only heightens the feeling of discomfort. How does a Hollywood legend, a man once considered larger than life, slip away so quietly and unnoticed? Why does it seem that no one close to him was attentive until it became too late? The deaths of Gene and Betsy Hackman leave a trail of questions rather than answers. Initially thought to be a tragic case of carbon monoxide poisoning, this theory was swiftly dismissed, prompting investigators to explore deeper. The circumstances surrounding their final moments don't quite align. Gene discovered in the mudroom, Betsy found in the bathroom with pills scattered on the floor, and one of their dogs locked away in a closet, also dead. The house remained untouched for nearly 2 weeks. The front door left open, and an emergency call that raised more questions than it resolved. Various theories have surfaced, each providing a potential explanation, yet none seamlessly connect all the dots. Did Gene suffer a fatal medical crisis that caused Betsy to be so devastated she ended her own life? Did a disagreement rise into a tragedy that could not be reversed? Was this a case of negligence, with no one to intervene before it was too late? Or is there an undisclosed factor, something yet to uncover? Is there another individual involved, a hidden motive lurking beneath the surface? Furthermore, there's the silence from those closest to them. Only one of Hackman's children has spoken out, while the others opted to remain quiet. There are no urgent calls for accountability or requests for a more extensive investigation. Were they estranged from their father in life, or are they suppressing details for other reasons? Why were house maintenance workers not checking in more frequently? How does a wealthy couple become so isolated that their deaths go unnoticed for weeks? With so many unresolved aspects, it's hard to determine exactly what transpired in that residence. What we can confirm is that something feels amiss. There are too many inconsistencies, too many gaps in the timeline. Maybe time will reveal the truth, or perhaps it will remain one of Hollywood's strangest unsolved mysteries. However, apart from the mysteries surrounding their death, there are more details about the couple that made people so interested in what happened to them. Let's explore more about the life they lived before their death. Gene's journey to the spotlight. It's Gene's acting career that first brought him to the spotlight, and he started in 1956. For a start, he joined the Pasadena Playhouse in California, a school for actors, where he met another young performer, Dustin Hoffman. Both of them were not very popular among their classmates and were seen as outsiders. The other students even voted them as the least likely to succeed. Hackman's performance at the school was not impressive, and he received the lowest score ever given at the Pasadena Playhouse. However, instead of giving up, he became even more determined to prove everyone wrong. Hackman soon left California and moved to New York City, hoping for better opportunities. According to an article published in 2004, Hackman, Hoffman, and Robert Duvall were all struggling actors at the time. They were close friends, all originally from California, and they often lived together in different two-person combinations while trying to build their careers in the 1960s. Life in New York was not easy for them. and they had to take on small jobs to survive while chasing their dreams. To make ends meet, Hackman worked in a Howard Johnson's restaurant between acting gigs. One day, he ran into an old instructor from the Pasadena Playhouse. Instead of encouraging him, the instructor mocked him, saying that his job at the restaurant was proof that he would never be successful. But that wasn't the only harsh comment he faced. A former Marine officer who saw him working as a doorman also looked down on him and called him an insult. Despite these discouraging encounters, Hackman did not let the criticism stop him. He remained focused on his goal of becoming an actor, determined to show everyone that he was capable of much more than they believed. Establishing his acting career. Gene Hackman slowly built his acting career by taking small roles in both films and television. He appeared in movies like Mad Dog Cole and acted in several television series, including Tallahassee 7000, The United States Steel Hour, Route 60, Naked City, The Defenders, The DuPont Show of the Week, East Side, West Side, and Brenner. These roles were not major, but they helped him gain experience and get noticed. At the same time, Hackman started performing in off-Broadway plays, taking on roles in lesser-known productions. His first stage performance was in The Saintliness of Marjorie Kemper in 1959, and a few years later, in 1963, he acted in Come to the Palace of Sin. That same year, he made his Broadway debut in Children from Their Games, though the play had only a brief run. Another Broadway production, A Rainy Day in Newark, also did not last long. However, in 1964, he found success with Any Wednesday, a play in which he acted alongside Sandy Dennis. The show was a big hit on Broadway and became a turning point in his career, giving him more opportunities to work in films. Hackman's first credited movie role came with Lilith, where he acted alongside Gene Seberg and Warren Beatty. He then returned to Broadway for Poor Richard, a play written by Gene Kerr, which had a successful run of over 100 performances. Even with his growing presence on stage, he continued working in television. He appeared in shows such as The Trials of O'Brien, Hawk, and the FBI. Around the same time, he landed a small part as Dr. John Whipple in the historical epic Hawaii. More film roles followed, including parts in First to Fight, A Covenant with Death, and Banning in 1967. That same year, Hackman was initially chosen to play the role of Mr. Robinson in The Graduate, a film directed by Mike Nichols. However, after 3 weeks of rehearsals, the director decided that Hackman looked too young for the role and replaced him with another actor. Despite this setback, 1967 proved to be a breakthrough year for Hackman. He appeared in an episode of the TV show The Invaders and played Buck Barrow in the critically acclaimed film Bonnie and Clyde. His performance in this movie was widely praised, earning him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Although Hackman was gaining recognition, not all of his projects were successful. His return to Broadway in The Natural Look lasted only one performance before closing. However, he continued working in off-Broadway productions, appearing in Fragments and The Basement. He also had guest roles in television series like Iron Horse and Insight. In 1968, he acted in an episode of I Spy and took on a role in the CBS Playhouse drama My Father and My Mother. He also starred in Shadow on the Land, a dystopian television movie. The following year, he played a ski coach in Downhill Racer and took on the role of an astronaut in Marooned. He also acted in The Gypsy Moths, a film about a skydiving team that performed at county fairs. This movie gained a cult following among skydivers due to its thrilling depiction of the sport. During this time, Hackman worked with actor Jim Brown in 2 films, The Split and Riot. Interestingly, he was almost cast as Mike Brady in The Brady Bunch, but his agent advised him against taking the role, suggesting that better opportunities were ahead. Although some sources claim this story might have been exaggerated, it remains a well-known anecdote about his early career choices. Through perseverance, Hackman gradually moved from minor roles to more significant parts, setting the stage for his future as one of Hollywood's most respected actors. Gene Hackman's career continued to rise in the 1970s, bringing him more recognition and success. His outstanding performance in I Never Sang for My Father earned him his 2nd Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. The following year, he took on roles in Doctor's Wives and The Hunting Party, marking his presence in the film industry. However, it was his portrayal of a determined New York City detective, Jimmy Popeye Doyle, in The French Connection, that made him a Hollywood star. His performance in the film was so powerful that it won him the Academy Award for Best Actor, a major milestone in his career. After this success, Hackman became one of the busiest actors in Hollywood, starring in an impressive number of films within the next 3 years. During this period, he appeared in 10 movies, not counting his brief but memorable role in the comedy Young Frankenstein. Some of his notable performances included starring roles in Cisco Pike, Prime Cut, and The Poseidon Adventure. The following year, he worked alongside Al Pacino in Scarecrow, a film that won the prestigious Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. This particular role was Hackman's personal favorite in his entire career. In 1974, he played the lead role in Francis Ford Coppola's thriller The Conversation, which received multiple Oscar nominations and also won the Palme d'Or. That same year, he showed his comedic side by playing a humorous role as Harold, the blind man, in Young Frankenstein. He continued working on a mix of dramatic and action films, including Zandy's Bride and Night Moves, both directed by Arthur Penn. Hackman also ventured into Western films, playing a former Rough Rider in Bite the Bullet, a story about an intense horse race. He later returned to his famous role as Popeye Doyle in French Connection Season 2, the sequel to the original film that had won him an Oscar. That same year, he starred alongside Burt Reynolds and Liza Minnelli in Lucky Lady, but the film was a major failure. Despite a few setbacks, Hackman continued landing roles in high-profile films. He worked with legendary director Stanley Kramer in The Domino Principle and was part of an all-star cast in the war movie A Bridge Too Far, where he portrayed a Polish general. He then took on another military role as an officer in the French Foreign Legion in March or Die. In 1978, Hackman proved that he could excel in comedy just as well as in serious roles. He played the brilliant yet comical villain Lex Luthor in Superman, the movie. His performance as Superman's arch-nemesis was widely praised, and he went on to reprise the role in the film's sequels released in 1980 and 1987. His ability to shift between serious dramas, action-packed roles, and comedic performances showcased his versatility as an actor. Hackman's success in the 1970s cemented his reputation as one of Hollywood's most talented and hard-working actors. Whether he was playing a tough detective, a troubled drifter, a military officer, or a comedic supervillain, he delivered performances that made a lasting impact on audiences and critics alike. Now focusing on his personal life, let's see how he got married to Betsy and how they lived their lives. Gene's life with Betsy. On December 1, 1991, Gene Hackman married Betsy Arakawa, a talented classical pianist. Before tying the knot, the couple had been in a committed relationship for 7 years. Their bond grew stronger over time, eventually leading them to start a new chapter of their lives together as husband and wife. The couple made their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where they lived in a beautifully designed house that had gained attention for its unique southwestern style. Even before their marriage, the home had been featured in Architectural Digest in 1990, highlighting its stunning architectural design. Sitting on a 12-acre hilltop, the residence offered breathtaking panoramic views of the surrounding landscape. From their home, they could see the vast beauty of the Jemez, Sangre de Cristo, and Sandia mountain ranges, creating a peaceful and picturesque environment. As the years passed, Hackman remained out of the public eye, choosing a quiet and private life away from Hollywood. The last time he was seen in public was in late 2022 when he attended an event in Santa Fe. After that, he continued to enjoy the privacy of his home, surrounded by the beauty of nature and the life he had built with Betsy. This brings us to explore more about his wife, Betsy. What you should know about Hackman's wife. Betsy Arakawa was born in Hawaii and spent her childhood in Honolulu. Coming from a Japanese background, she had a natural talent for music from an early age. She showed exceptional skill as a pianist while attending Kahala Elementary School. By the time she was 11 years old, she had the opportunity to perform at the prestigious Honolulu International Center Concert Hall. Her remarkable talent was recognized when she played the final movement of Joseph Haydn's keyboard concerto in G major alongside the Honolulu Symphony Orchestra, an impressive achievement for such a young musician. Determined to further her education, Betsy enrolled at the University of Southern California, where she studied between 1981 and 1983. However, her interests extended beyond just music. During one summer break, she took on exciting and diverse roles, serving as a cheerleader for the Los Angeles Aztecs, a professional soccer team, and working behind the scenes in television as a production assistant for the game show Card Sharks. These experiences allowed her to explore different aspects of the entertainment industry while developing new skills. In 1989, Betsy performed at the Altenheim Geriatric Center in Illinois. This nursing home later became a filming location for The Package, a movie starring Gene Hackman. Interestingly, Betsy had already met Hackman earlier in the 1980s while working at a fitness center in Los Angeles. Over time, their relationship grew stronger, and they dated for 7 years before deciding to get married. On December 1, 1991, they officially became husband and wife. After their marriage, Betsy chose to step away from performing in concerts to focus on her new life with Hackman. For years, there were rumors that Hackman had left his former wife, Faye Maltese, because of Betsy. However, in an interview in 2021, he denied these claims, stating that their relationship had not caused his previous marriage to end. Even though she left her music career behind, Betsy found a new passion in business. In 2001, she co-founded a home furnishing store called Pandora's in Santa Fe, alongside her business partner, Barbara Lenahan. This venture allowed her to channel her creativity into design and interior decor, proving that her talents extended beyond music. Throughout her life, Betsy embraced different opportunities and pursued various interests. From being a musical prodigy and a cheerleader to becoming a businesswoman, she demonstrated adaptability and a willingness to explore new paths. While she may have stepped away from the concert stage, her contributions in different fields reflected her passion and determination. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.